So Ben Zoma says, Ezu Chacham Alomed Mikal Adam. So Ben Zoma, there were three people named Shimon. You had Shimon Ben Zoma, Shimon Ben Azai, and Shimon Hatemani. All of them are called, one's called Ben Zoma, one's called Ben Azai, one's called Hatemani. They're not called Shimon ever, usually. A couple of reasons for that. One reason is because they died young. Another reason is because this is what they said prior to when they became big rabbis. And there are other shittot as well. We don't have to go into all of them right now. So Ben Zoma, he decided to impart with us a certain wisdom. He said, who is the wise man? He who learns from everybody. Who's a strong man? One who overcomes his own personal yetzer hara, his own personal wants. Like it says, who's a rich man? He who is happy with what he has. Who is honored? Who gets honored? He who honors everybody else. What does this mean? It's very interesting. So first of all, the Rabbi Yaakov Zatzal explains all these things are technically predetermined before a person's born. They're going to be rich, poor, smart, dumb, honorable, not honorable, strong, weak. It's all predetermined. So what is this Mishnah coming to say? So he answers, generally in the way of the world, somebody who's smart doesn't want to listen to anybody else. Somebody who's strong, it's all about physical strength. Somebody who's rich, right, is not happy with what he has. He always wants more. He always wants more wealth. Somebody who wants kavod, he wants honor. He wants everybody to honor him. He doesn't honor anybody else. So therefore, Rabbi Yaakov says, if you want one of these things and you're not really supposed to have it, you have to go against the grain of the world. That means the whole world, the smart person doesn't want to listen to everybody. You listen to everybody because everybody has what to learn from. Every single person in this world has something to give you. A tzaddik, a rasha, a smart person, a dumb person. Everybody has something from their life experience, from what goes on with them that imparts with you a certain wisdom that you would not have known beforehand. Ezu Gibor, so Rabbi Yonah says, physical strength an animal also has. Animals carry things, they schlep things, they bring things, they pull things. The same like a human being. So what differentiates man and animal? The fact if we're able to control our own wants, our own personal wants, our yetzer. Do we do whatever we want or do we not do whatever we want? So therefore the real strength of man, the real gvura when it comes to a human being is the fact that he's able to control his wants, control his tavot, control his yetzer hara, and keep himself from doing bad. Then we said, Ezu Ashir Samech B'Chalko. It's one of the most famous ones. Who's wealthy? The one who's happy with what he has. Why? Kematzir brings down, others bring down. A person always wants more than what he has. That means if a person has $1, a person has a mana rotem time, he wants $2. A person has $2, wants $4. A person has $4, he wants $8. So in essence, who really needs more in order to be happy? The rich guy needs more, because the rich guy might have $1 million in the bank, but he really needs $2 million. So he's missing $1 million. Whereas you might have $1,000 in your bank, but all you need is $2,000, because everybody only wants double from what they have. So therefore, Ezu Ashiyat Samech, go be happy with what you have. Not just that. It's brought down, a sefer from the Medrash Shmuel brings down that what it really means is Ezu Ashiyat Samech B'Chalko is use what God gives you in your life. God gives you money. God gave you, thank God, a lot of money. What are you going to do with that money? So, Asamech B'Chalko is one who uses his money. The Gemara brings down. God gave you the money for you to use, for you to utilize. Use it for Torah, mitzvot, for whatever. It's for you to use. It's not for you to put in the bank for your children and grandchildren, great-grandchildren. The money is really there for you. So, Ezu Ashir, who is the rich person? Asamech B'Chalko. He's happy with what he has because he uses what he has. And that's why he brings down a story. The Hanafei Avot brings down a story from the Chidah, that he says there was one time a big kamtzan. He was a big miser. He was a rich guy, but he always held on to his money. He never wanted to part with any of his money. And he used to have storehouses full of gold and silver and fine clothing, all these things. And he never gave a cent out. But one thing he did do good. He was a moel. And anybody who needed a brit to be done, he would travel miles in order to go do a brit. Didn't matter. He would travel as far as possible to go ahead and do a brit. He would travel and do it. And always for free. That's the one good thing that he would do. One time there's a knock on his door. A guy tells him, listen, I need my wife had a baby. We have a brit to come go to, if you could please be the moil. He said, sure, but some guy said, sure, I'm happy to come. Gets into the wagon, they travel. It takes a long time to travel. Travel quite distant to a small town, past certain mountains. And they come in there, and beforehand, the moil always checks the baby to make sure they can do the brit the next day, to make sure the baby's healthy. So he goes in, checks the baby, everything looks good. And the mother of the child sees how happy he is to do the mitzvah, the brit. She tells him, listen, I got to warn you. My husband is a shade. He's a demon. All the people who live in this town are demons. And if you eat or drink or take anything from them, you're going to be stuck here and you become a shade as well. You become a demon as well. So I'm giving you advice. Because I see you want to do the mitzvah so much. She said, I was a Jewish girl. I stole from them and therefore I'm stuck here. You should know, she said, don't eat anything by the meal. Don't take anything from them. And this way you won't be entrapped here. You listen to her. They do the brit. Right after the brit comes a big meal. It says, Tanit Chalom. I had a bad dream. I'm fasting. I can't eat. He didn't eat. The next morning, he sleeps over. The next morning, the guy wants to give him some gifts before he leaves. He says, I don't want anything. This guy said, listen, I'm very wealthy. I want to show you my storehouses. So he goes in and he shows him his storehouses. Warehouses full of gold. Warehouses full of silver. All these different warehouses. And he's looking at them and says, hold on a minute. These warehouses look exactly like my warehouses. Even the doors and the knobs and the keels look exactly like mine. Is this really my stuff? So the demon says, let me tell you the truth. He says, because you're a miser, you're a kamtan, so the sheidim, the demons control all your wealth, and they don't let you part with any of it. But because you went ahead and you did this big mitzvah of doing the Brit Milah, and I see your God must be with you, here, take the keys. And he gave him the keys to his own warehouses. From then on, he was able to give tzedakah easily. Give tzedakah easily, and use his money. To use the money you have, not just put it in a bank. It's not just here to dump in a bank and just sit there. God gave you the money for a reason. God entrusted you with the money for a reason. Give tzedakah, give charity, support Torah, whatever it is. But you have the money for a reason. It's not just here to sit in a bank to grow to get covered in cobwebs. Then what did we end it off? We said, who is the honorable person? He who honors everybody else. Somebody who's mighty and everybody honors him and he really treats everybody horribly, nobody really likes him. Nobody really honors him. Who's the guy that everybody really likes and really honors? The guy who treats everybody else nicely. I mean, the story of Chavavadia brings down that he was a very rich fellow. There were two rich fellows in the town. One of them was a very nice guy, honored everybody, gave everybody kavod. And one of them, he wasn't very nice to people. He makes a massive party, the one that wasn't so nice. And he dresses like a regular beggar. Nobody should recognize who he is. He makes a big party. And he's walking between everybody. And he hears the people talking, the donkey, the hamor, he made this party for everybody. And everybody's talking derogatory about him. He's wondering, why is everybody talking derogatory about me? Meanwhile, his friend, the other rich guy, makes a party a few days later. Again, he goes to that party dressed up like a beggar. And he hears how nice everybody talks about this rich guy. Oh, look at this guy. Look how nice of a party he made for us. And he's wondering why by me they talk one way and by him they talk some different way. He tells his wife, I don't understand this. So he confronts a few people. And I tell him, listen, the reason is because you don't treat anybody nice. So therefore, we might honor you when we want something from you, but the truth is nobody likes you. You don't really have any real honor. But that other rich guy, he treats everybody extremely nicely. He's there for everybody. He's kind to everybody. He's nice to everybody. He doesn't have his nose in the air, and he doesn't ignore everybody else. Therefore, everybody likes him. Everybody honors him. Everybody really likes him. That's the big difference in you and him. That was what Shimon ben Zoma gave him. Shimon ben Azai, which is the next Mishnah. Now you have to understand, there were 4 people who went to the Pardes. There were 4 people that went up. They went up spiritually. They went up to the Pardes. There's a garden, Shemayim, up in heaven. They went to the other side of the curtain, and regular people can't go. And the only one who came in and went out fine was Rabbi Akiva. Elisha ben Avuya went in and came out. He became Acher. He went off the derech, went off the right path. Shimon ben Azai and Shimon ben Zoma, one of them passed away, and one of them went demented. He went crazy. So Ben Azai says, run to every single mitzvah. Run to a small mitzvah the same like you run to a big mitzvah. And run away from doing averot. Why? One mitzvah causes another mitzvah. One bad thing causes another, one sin causes another thing. The reward for a mitzvah is another mitzvah, and the reward for sin is another sin. Right? Typical case. A parent tells a child, don't take something. The kid takes it. That was his first sin. Parent asks, who took it? The kid said, not me. Second sin. Who took it? She took it. Third sin, he says, Matushemra. Then they get in a fight. Fourth sin. One sin leads to another sin. It never ends. There's no ending to it. There's a story I ever brought down. I heard from a man in the Malach Shuta. He brings down that there's a big Sephardi rabbi in Israel called Reb Chaim Zaid. Reb Chaim Zaid used to give shiurim. And by one of these shiurim, he spoke about how you're supposed to eat properly. You're supposed to have a proper etiquette when you eat. There's a certain way of eating. And he explained to them you're supposed to cut your food small. You don't eat like a pig. You don't just stuff things in your mouth. You take a fork and knife and you cut up all the food. You make small pieces and you put it in your mouth. There's a guy there. He gave this class on Yom HaTzmaot. Yeah, hey, on Yom HaTzmaot, where nobody works. And he would give a class. And there was tons of people used to come to the class. Religious, in between, non-religious. Everybody used to come to this class. At the end of the class, one of the guys afterwards came over to me and says, Rabbi, it's a beautiful speech. I'm going to start doing what you said. I'm going to start eating like a human being. And I'm going to stop eating like a pig. Thank you so much, Rabbi. And the guy looked like he long hair, tiny little kippah, and he didn't look like he ever kept anything. And Chaim Zaid said, okay, sure. Years later, Chaim Zaid comes and he's giving another class. And a guy comes at the end of the class to him, with long peyot, and a big beard, look like a real, ultra orthodox, a real Haredi. And he walks over and says, Rabbi, do you remember me? He says, no, I have no clue who you are. He says, remember years ago you gave a speech a couple of years back and there was a guy there who came to you and I looked like this and like this. He says, yeah. He says, Rabbi, you should know. I started afterwards cutting my food very small. I started listening to you, doing the prior way of eating. I didn't keep Shabbat. I didn't keep kosher. I didn't keep anything. But that's what I started when I started doing that. And you should know, Rabbi, there's a whole story how I came to this. You want to hear it? Rabbi said, yeah, sure. So what happened was, I started cutting the food very small. And I taught my entire family to do this way. Cut up your food, eat a certain way of eating. After a couple of months, we started making brachot. We started making a blessing before we eat the food. And that's what we did. Now, he had been a baker. He had worked in a bakery. And he lost his job. One day, he took his kids to the park. They were sitting by the park and they were playing. And they all got very, very hungry, the kids. They said, Abba, we're really hungry. Please, we need food. They said, look, there's a truck, there's a bakery truck. One of these massive bakery chains in Israel. And there's a big bakery truck there. He says, Abba, why don't you go get some baked goods for us, some food? Because he said, that's a truck. Trucks don't sell to you. The truck doesn't do retail, they do wholesale. He says, Abba, please, we're hungry. They're begging him. He says, okay. He goes over to the truck, drivers, starts talking to them. Yeah, he's schmoozing with them. What's the route? Back and forth. After he says, please, can I buy something from your truck? They said, what do you mean? We're wholesale. We drop off. We're not retail. We don't sell you. We're not an ice cream truck. He said, come on, please. My kids are hungry. He said, you know what? You're a nice guy. We'll sell it to you. They open up the back of the truck. They take out these long danishes, these long croissants, chocolate danish, whatever they were. And they give him a whole bunch of them. He takes them. He goes to sit down with his kids. And they grab them. He says, no. First have to cut it up. We don't stuff them out. Cuts up into tiny little pieces. He's cutting it up. As he's cutting up, he notices these green things in them. These green spots. Throughout this croissant is full of green spots. The next one also. And he being a baker, he knew sometimes the sugar and the chocolate doesn't really mix. But he looks at it. You don't get this color from anything. He smells it. Terrible smell. Then he notices the smell of gasoline. Grabs the food. The kid said, we're hungry. He says, no, you're not eating this. Grabs all the, he says, each one is the same. Runs to the truck before they leave. Sucha, please wait. Yeah, what? He says, guys, there's gasoline in your croissants, in the danishes, in the food. He said, no, you're crazy. It's not mixed well. It's sugar. It's the chocolate. He says, no, I was a baker for many years. I worked in the bakery. I know what looks like sugar. I know what looks like chocolate. I know what cinnamon looks like. This ain't none of that. Smell it. They look at it. They hold on a minute. They go to open the back of the truck. They open up all the containers. Every single one is exactly the same. All the pastry goods in the back of the truck all had gasoline mixed in. And instead of putting oil, somebody had put in gasoline to try to kill everybody. They pick up the phone. They call the main manager, the company. They call the boss. Said, boss, all the pastries have gasoline in it. You got to stop all the trucks. There's tons of trucks going out to all different parts of Israel. He says, you sure? He says, yeah, there's a guy here. There's gasoline in there. Calls up. Stop all the trucks. Everything had it in it. All the food that had been baked, all had this gasoline in it. All right, this guy goes home. He gets a call the next day from the owner of the company saying, listen, we figured it out. Investigation. There was an Arab employee who had poured gasoline to try to kill people, try to sabotage people. He poured gasoline into the batter mix. And he said, listen, we would really like to reward you, for what you've done. He said, reward me? He said, like, my kids were going to die. It's a good thing that happened. He said, listen, tell me, what did you used to do? Maybe I have a position for you. He says, yeah, I used to be a baker. Maybe you have a job? He said, yeah, I'll make you the head manager of the entire company. The guy went from being a pauper, he didn't have a job, unemployed, to being a big manager and make tons of money. And he says, Rabbi, you know why it all happened? All because I used to cut my food into small little pieces. I took this tiny little mitzvah, one small little mitzvah, which is not even a real full mitzvah. One small little thing I started doing, and what did that cause? That caused that I saved my kids from being killed. I saved people in Israel from being killed. I got a job. I got all that. And Chaim Tzid used to say that the cutting up the small pieces into small pieces is a skula for parnasah. It's a skula that a person has parnasah if he eats nicely, if he cuts up his food nicely. So from that one thing led to the next until he became a full Haredi, full with the pace and the beard and everything. Yeah, full. All from one mitzvah. That's what it says, mitzvah, goreret mitzvah. Schar mitzvah, one mitzvah causes another. Yeah, it's a true story. One mitzvah causes another mitzvah, that causes another mitzvah, that causes another mitzvah. It's a ripple effect. And that's why it says, schar mitzvah. The reward for a mitzvah is another mitzvah. And another mitzvah, and another mitzvah. The same way the reward for an avera. Once somebody sins, causes another sin. Still somebody's stuck in sin and doesn't even know how to get out of it. And I saw the Nefesh of Chaim. He says, you know what it means, schar mitzvah? You know what Olam Haba is? We started off always, Kol Yisrael, every Jew has a portion of the world to come. You know what that means? When you do mitzvot, all the mitzvot you do creates your Olam Haba. I mean, every Jew has the ability to create the Olam Haba. And the opposite, he has the ability to create his own Gehenom. Every mitzvah you do, as we always say, every mitzvah, thought, speech, and action creates a malach. And it also creates an Olam Haba for him, his own personal Olam Haba. His own bad deeds. Once we started talking about this, is another story I want to share. Another story I heard from. So there's another story that I wanted to share from Rav Moshe Kraus. He was the cantor. He was the Chazan of the IDF. Yeah, he was from Europe before the war. He went to. He had a very storied story what happened to him during the Holocaust, how he was saved and everything. But he says over a story that I believe his great grandfather was a Karasira Rebbe, and his mother told him over the story. He said that the Rebbe came once to a wedding, and the way the weddings used to work is you have the Chatan, he sits there with 100 guests, and the bride, the Kala, sits in a different room with her 100 guests, and then the Rebbe shows up, and you do the chuppah, you do the whole ceremony, and everything's, they're married, and everything's good. Over here, the Rebbe shows up, and the Gabbai says, okay, we're ready to make the wedding, the chuppah. And the Rebbe says, I want to talk to the bride for a second. Rebbes don't usually talk to brides. Okay? He goes ahead, he stands right outside with the women are sitting, and he says, let me tell you a dream that I had last night. What's the dream? He said, I was up in heaven, and they were saying V'nu makom the ploni, makes place for the certain person. Who is that person? Big tzaddik. He was a big tzaddik who passed away, and they're saying, make room for this big holy man. And they made room, and he comes up to the heavenly court, and around him are angels carrying massive volumes of Talmud and massive volumes of Chumash and all the Svarim that the guy learned in his entire life. And they put it all on the scale, and the scale's almost breaking under the heavy load of all the Torah that the guy learned. And on the other side were the few small averot that he did, this few small sins that he did. No, they were about to judge him straight to heaven, right? Look, it's not even close. All of a sudden, an angel comes running up. Wait! David turns around. Yeah. The angel says, no. You see that Talmud? He only learned it for his own honor. You see that over there? He only did that because he wanted to do this to that person. That over there, he only learned for this reason. And he went through every single thing the guy learned his entire life, and all the other reasons why he learned it, not for God, not for the right reasons. And the angel went, and all those svarim disappeared. And now the few sins that he did outweighed his good deeds, and he was sent to Gehenna. He says he was shocked. Then all of a sudden you heard another thing. Punu Markom the pony, make place for another guy. Who's the guy who comes now? A farmer, a poor farmer. Farmer comes up, and the farmer comes up, and they start putting the mitzvot and the averot on the scale. This farmer had owned a little inn he created on his land, and used to have poor people come to him, and regular people, he used to make a lot of money off of his inn. And they started putting the sins that he did. He didn't put on tefillin, he didn't pray, he didn't do this, he didn't do that, he didn't do this. The sins are piling up, and the mitzvot are very few. The judge is about to say, that's it, Gehenna, when all of a sudden an angel comes up, wait, yes, what can we do for you? So you don't understand. In his inn, he would take poor people in, and he wouldn't charge them anything. And he would let them stay over the night for free. And when he would send them the next day, he would send them with a piece of bread, so that they wouldn't be hungry before they reach the next town. So he took all the bread that he ever sent with the poor people, and they started piling it up on the scale. And then the scale went to heaven. The Rebbe says, then I woke up, turns to the bride and says, don't forget the bread. Yeah, and then they went to go make the wedding. True story. Yeah, crazy story. What do you see? Small little mitzvot, small little kind deeds. It's not what everybody tells you, oh, how great your deed is. Small little deeds, one, another. They all count, they all pile up. One mitzvah leads to another mitzvah, that leads to another mitzvah, and in which a person gets a great reward in the world to come. We're going to do one more Mishnah. He used to say, the same Ben Azai, he used to say, Alti baz l'chad adam, alti maflig l'chad davar she'en l'chad adam she'en lo shav, ve'en l'chad davar she'en lo makom. Always be nice to every single person. Every single person has his moment in time. That means even if you're all on top and that guy's all on the bottom, you should know there's going to become a time when he's going to be on top and you're going to be on the bottom. Everything goes in circles, as they say. The world's like a wheel, yeah? Never put anybody down in life, ever. Jew, Gentile, nobody. So the famous story brought down in the Gemara, where there was a shipwreck. A big ship was going, and there's a massive shipwreck. And during the shipwreck, a Roman was on that boat, and he somehow made his way to shore, and he came to Jerusalem. Now, at that time, the Romans were controlling Israel, and the Jews hated the Romans. And this guy had nothing, and he stands in the street and says, people, I'm a grandson of Esav. We're family, right? You're all a great-grandson of Yaakov. I'm a great-grandson of Esav. We're family. Give me something. And all the Jews said, yeah, you're a great-grandson of Esav. You're the Romans. Go fly a kite. All right? And they were not nice to him at all. Nobody gave him anything. Then he sees this one big rabbi with a big white beard. I think it's a Chanina. Yeah, big white beard. And he runs over to him and says, please help me, Rabbi. And he says, sure, come. And he gave him an article of clothing. He brought him to his house, gave him to eat. And then he gave him 200 dinars of money, like $200. And he sent him on his way. Many, many years later, that Roman guy became the Caesar. That Roman guy became in charge of all the Romans. And the first decree he enacted was kill all the Jews in Jerusalem. Now the Jews in Jerusalem didn't know what to do. Nobody knew who this guy was. And they sent their rabbi to go bring 4,000 gold coins to the Caesar to try to bribe him, maybe he'll be a little nicer to the Jews. So he comes into him and he says, the Roman Caesar recognized the rabbi. He gets off his throne and he bows down to the rabbi. He says, Rabbi, what can I do for you? You saved my life all those years ago. He says, yes, but now you want to kill all my people. You want to destroy Jerusalem. He says, yeah, because they were terrible to me. Nobody wanted to help me. Only you helped me. He says, yeah, in my zechut, please save everybody else. They didn't know. Had they known, they wouldn't have done it to you. So he says, okay, in your honor, I'm going to save the Jewish people. In your honor, I'm going to annul my decree. Here, keep the 4,000 coins as yours and go into my storehouse and the clothes you gave me, I'm going to give you 70 times the amount. Go take clothes. And he sent him on his way. Never be unkind to anybody. Everybody, with the lowest of the low, always. It goes in a circle. Could we wind up being on top? Always. I want to do one more. I want to do the beginning of the next one just to end off. Levita says, the man from Yavne, he says, be very humble. Be very humble. Because the hope of man is worms. Now, hope of man being worms is not necessarily an amazing thing, right? What does it mean the hope of man is worms? So the Medrash Shmuel brings down that what that really means is because it depends what you're spending your life for. If you're spending your life to eat and drink, then what are you doing? All you're doing is your plan is to feed the worms after you die. But if your hope in life is not for the worms, not to just fatten yourself up, then you're going to do Torah and mitzvahs, you're going to do the right things, you're going to be humble. So it's the story that the Chacham Vadia brings down from Rabbi Yonatan Eibeshitz. Rabbi Yonatan Eibeshitz, he became the big rabbi. And when they sent him to come, and when he came, he was a rabbi of a very large area in Europe. And when he showed up at one of the outlying towns. He didn't show up in the main town. He showed up in the outlying town. He became the rabbi of Altoona and all the area around it. And he showed up. He was right next to Yom Kippur. Erev Yom Kippur. He takes his marzah. He goes into the local shul and he sits down in a regular seat. And there's a guy standing next to him. And the guy standing next to him is praying. And the guy's praying a little loud. And he hears how every single al-chet, God, please forgive me. Every single one he translates to German and he's crying and there's tears running down his eyes. And when he gets to Elikai, where it says, God, it's not worth it that I should have been created. I'm a nothing. And the guy's crying and crying. And Rabbi Yonatan Eibeshitz is really moved by such a prayer. Moved. So when the Gabbai asks him, where you want to sit during the prayers tomorrow? He says, I want to sit next to that guy. Sits next to that guy. The night of Yom Kippur, and the guy's crying, and Rabbi Yonatan Eibeshitz is really feeling it. And Shachrit, the guy's crying and explaining everything as he's praying, and he's really feeling it. Comes to the Aliyot, they start giving out the Aliyot for the Aliyah of the Torah. And they start giving it out, and they give one guy Rishon, Kohen, Levi, then somebody else gets Shalishi, somebody else Levi, and then the old guy next to him gets Chamishi. The guy says, Chamishi? I don't want Chamishi. You gave that guy Shalishi, you gave out the third Aliyah, which is more chashuv than Chamishi. You gave him that guy Shalishi, and you're giving me Chamishi? I don't want Chamishi. It's a chutzpah. How could you give me such a thing? And he's screaming at them. Yonatan Eibeshitz couldn't understand it. How is that possible? This guy just said he's praying, telling God, I'm nothing. And there's no, everybody's greater than me. And then he goes over here and he's screaming at them for wanting to give him the fifth Aliyah instead of the third Aliyah. Couldn't understand it. So he turns to the guy and he says, I'm told, excuse me. I was very moved by all your prayers. And you keep on saying, God, it's not worth it, and I was created, and I'm nothing, and you're crying over all your sins. And here you stand up there screaming at him. I don't understand. How does one thing fit with the other? He says, Rabbi, you don't understand. When I'm praying to God, compared to God, I'm nothing. So I could cry and I could beg God for forgiveness for everything I did wrong. But that guy, compared to the guy they gave Shalishi to, I'm much better than that guy. So compared to him, I'm great. Compared to God, I'm nothing. Yeah? That's how somebody could go ahead and be completely warped in his mindset. Completely warped. And that's why Yonatan Eibeshitz said it's greater what it said by Moshe Rabbeinu than by Avraham Avinu. Because Avraham Avinu says, V'anochi afa ve'efer, I'm dust and dirt, I'm nothing. Moshe Rabbeinu says, V'anachnu ma, what am I? That means I'm not even dust and dirt. Right? Avraham Avinu was like this. This guy could say, I'm dirt God, I'm dirt God, I'm dirt God. When it comes to somebody else, I'm better than him. Right? When Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'm nothing even compared to anybody. And that's what this Mishnah is saying. Don't let it go to your head. Don't never let it get to you. Don't think you're greater than anybody. Always consider everybody else greater than you. Always consider everybody else smarter than you. And this way you never get into a fight with anybody. And when it comes time when you're going to need somebody else, he'll always be there for you.